Gambling is a funny thing.
You could say that.
Because of the days of the week, my own life, factors outside of our control, we didn't do our Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals bets until after the Spurs had already upset the Thunder in Game 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That must have I don't know that changed what my bets would have been. But when I put it through the system, after the Spurs got Game 1, the only bet it spit out was over 6.5 games. Because they're like, if Spurs could take Game 1, this can go the distance to 7 games.
Yeah.
And it did. So that bet cashed. Regardless of the winner of Game 7. Beautiful thing about bets that are totals, right? Bets that are win totals, game totals, not necessarily like you lose one game, you lose the whole bet. Things you can do as a future that you don't wait too long for. Coming up today on Wit and Grit, however, we'll be talking about some bets you'll be waiting all year for.
Those are the ones that you have to convince me on, because I don't like having my money locked up like that.
That's why we're going to start there, because I ran my first batch of futures, and if you remember last year's episode, our system only spit out 2 bets total. It was the Cowboys and the 49ers, if you remember.
Right.
Because we held on to those tickets all year.
Yeah.
This time I've got 8 bets. I've got 8 bets you could tie up your money for in the future.
Nice. Okay. I'm curious to see what you got.
We're also going to be talking about how the F1 bets at Canada did not go our way. And we're going to talk about everything else effing around with F1. It's NFL and F1 only tonight, today, and tomorrow. It's Wit and Grit.
Welcome to Wit and Grit, where Ian and Sean break down sports betting, pop culture, or whatever is on their minds. The Wit and Grit Podcast.
If you go to witandgritpod.com and you check out our awesome website that John's put together, you can leave us a voicemail. You can go follow us on YouTube if you're not already watching us there. You can go find us for Spotify, everywhere else. We're going to be doing a lot more of the voicemails, the price checks, the alien news, a lot of the more fun stuff next week. But as we sit on the end of May, the beginning of June, it's just time to get to what this show was made on. Bets. Making bets and holding ourselves accountable to you fools. So
feels good to be able to talk a little NFL.
Last NFL season wasn't perfect.
No.
September absolutely tried to kill me. But the process recovered hard once the season settled in. So tracked on Pickett based on what my unit size is. We went, this is funny. We went up plus 0.08 units in August. As you know, we didn't do much preseason betting.
Didn't lose any money, though.
No. We lost 7.3 units in September. Lost. So if you remember by October, that's when you started really dialing your betting back because you were going hard at the beginning of the season and it wasn't paying off, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it was way better from there. October, we made 12 units alone. Big month.
Fantastic. So now that's positive on the year.
November, we lost 4.5.
Okay, so now we're about even again.
December, we made 5.15.
Okay.
January, we made 1.76 units.
Mm-hmm.
And then in February, because the Super Bowl was everything we told you it would be, we made 7.85 units in that month alone, and that's the only game in the month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So overall, despite September being disappointing, we made 15.15 units on the NFL season. And if you only joined us from October through the Super Bowl, you made plus 22.39 units. That means on the year, if you had tailed us the entire time and you did $100 for a unit, you would have made $1,515 listening to this podcast and these dumb little bets we put out. So before we give out this year's futures, I just wanted to say, if you're new or if you didn't see the other bets last year, like, we're holding ourselves accountable. We told you guys when the system was raw last year that the season before, 2024, did not go as well for us. We were fighting for our lives.
Yeah, truly. Well, maybe not truly.
Yeah, more like White Clawly.
I see what you did there.
You like that?
Yeah.
Quick reminder, all wagers tracked in units, not dollars. You probably just heard us say the word unit 1,000 times. I didn't explain this, but one unit should equal roughly 10% of your weekly gambling bankroll. What is my bankroll, Sean? What is my weekly bankroll?
Whatever you set aside for gambling that you can afford to lose.
Money you can afford to lose. If you're having a hard time right now, if you don't have any money, if you're waiting till the next paycheck, don't do this yet. Like, there's no game this week. You got plenty of time. Chill. Wait till you get a bonus or something. Then be like, all right, the lines probably aren't going to move that much.
I wouldn't think so. There's like they say for a huge injury. Yeah. Huge
injury. That's it. And like any futures bet has that baked in as a problem. So
right. Yeah, that's not going to exactly. So
we talked about the schedule a little bit the last time we were on. Since we had another episode, strength of schedules come out from Warren Sharp, which we talk about a lot. So a lot of these bets that I'm about to give out, just to tell you guys where I'm sourcing from, Warren Sharp is a huge part with his like strength of schedule and rest advantage, disadvantage. Mm-hmm. For instance, this year the Bears have the largest advantage and the Chargers have a historically large rest disadvantage. The Chargers actually have a historic minus 24 days in rest disadvantage this year based on how the schedule is set up.
Okay.
We also have some stats from Action Network, Evan Abrams, PJ Walsh, PFF, ESPN Analytics, preseason power ratings models, and, of course, rest disparity projections that I just told you about. So we baked in a lot of stuff to do this. You don't want to try to recreate the system at home, but the bare nuts and bolts of it is it's trenches first. As soon as we get updated offensive and defensive line rankings for next year, we will be doing another wave of bets because that'll be the most substantial data we have here. Until then, we're going to crunch the numbers and just tell you guys exactly what we already see. So you heard me mention them already. They have the biggest advantage as far as rest this year, the Chicago Bears. The sophomore Bears, I guess we would call them, right? Because they finally showed up after, 100 years last year? Like,
Felt like it. You think everyone's going to take that next step? Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, that crew, the offense kind of gelling another year.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they have another year there. They tried to attack the defense more. And it, like I said, biggest schedule advantage. Warren Sharp has them at a rest disparity of plus 15 days of net rest advantage. That's the best in the NFL this season and the second largest net rest edge since 1990. It's also only set at 9.5 wins.
Okay.
So something important to note, we'll get to it later. I don't have the exact stat in front of me. It's later in the article. Spoiler alert, again, subscribe to All In with Ian on Substack, completely free. We'll send these bets to your email, and you could have already read this. Now you have to listen to me. But
which we know you hate.
But that's all I'm saying is that we'll get to a stat soon about how double-digit win totals do not do well historically. I can't remember. Yeah. It's like 1 and 4. Yeah. But 0-9 straight up with a rest deficit of 3+ days since 2020. 180 against the spread in those spots. 42, 35, and 5 against the spread when they don't have a rest disadvantage. So that's just NFL teams in general.
Okay. So rest does, I mean, there's data here that says rest helps.
Yeah. A lot of people say it's overblown.
Yeah.
I actually heard a couple of people talking on different podcasts about how the NFL is basically just hanging up the names of the quarterbacks on these teams, and they're running through AI and other information systems to see where that game gets the biggest number. So like Packers Cowboys on Thanksgiving last year, I believe was like the biggest game anyone had ever seen. Yeah. That was one of the ones, this new system they used for all the games this year. it put the game there. And it didn't put the game there because it's good for the players. They put it there because the fans were likely to watch at that time.
Yep. Okay.
So what scares me, Caleb Williams stalls out and the offensive line doesn't improve enough. I mean, most of the projection models only have the Bears at 9 wins. This is over 9.5 wins at plus 115. And we're going to make that a 2-unit bet.
Nice. I like that. That's a tough division to get 10 wins in, but you like what you're seeing. You like the rest.
I like the rest advantage. I like getting over 9.5. Speaking of teams we should probably be fading after they did really well last year with a new coach, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Duval.
Over 9.5 wins plus 120. This is a 1.5 unit bet.
Okay, what are you liking there?
The number's just a little disrespectful for a team that won 13 games last year. Market clearly expects regression. Maybe they're right. But getting plus money on a roster with this much upside caught my attention immediately. Yeah. Specifically where the Colts have Daniel Jones coming back from injury. The Titans are still trying to learn how to fly. I mean, are we worried about the rest of that division? I'm not.
I mean, Houston's there, but
Houston's there,
hinges on Stroud. Yeah.
Man, they're more like the cautionary tale, aren't they?
Of a team I would think so.
Got a new coach and looked really great in week 1 or year 1, and then all of a sudden didn't quite not holding on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like what I see out of the Jags. You think Trevor Lawrence is due for a big year?
At least big enough. They saved his career last year.
Yeah.
What scares me is the travel schedule is brutal. London games,
right.
3 straight road games, short weeks, no rhythm all season, but also PFF absolutely hated their draft class. So
yeah. Be curious to follow Travis Hunter year 2, honestly. See if they kind of get that figured out a little bit better.
Man, I already saw a report that kind of got swept under the rug.
Yeah.
But
what's that?
That he's basically going to be a corner now.
Okay. I mean,
he'll have like maybe 12% routes to run as a wide receiver.
I think that makes sense. Primarily a corner and then a gadget player on offense. I think that's perfect. Like, he doesn't need to do it all the time.
I'm just saying that, like, you're not wrong.
Right.
But the guy that traded all that capital to get this guy 3rd overall because they thought he was going to be the first player to play both sides of the, like, that was wrong now. That was clearly wrong now.
Absolutely.
Unless he becomes great. They don't keep drafting wide receivers because he solved their problem. You notice that? They're still drafting.
Fair. Yeah. I'm curious to see how that offense looked this year. But moving on.
Let's go to your boyfriend.
Got here. My boyfriend.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, man. I don't know about that.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
You turned on him. How many off seasons in a row could he chill you? Well, now that you're finally off and the rest of the public are off, we're back on, baby.
No, just when I thought I got away, they pull me back in.
Just when you got de-invested from the Joe Burrow stock, he pulls you right back in. Like
I have to be a little invested because of my fantasy dynasty team, but that's another conversation.
This is also the first ladder bet we did. So despite that 11-win rule, just didn't like the juice on 1 unit for the Bengals. Everyone else saw that the schedule finally didn't screw them. So 1 unit on the minus 146, barely a playable number. And then just to make it worth my while, half a unit on over 10.5 wins at plus 120.
Okay. So they're sitting at 9.5 on the books, but you're trying to get that juice with the 1 extra win.
Yeah, and several books will allow you to just pick a number and it gives you a number. So, I mean, I just did one of the ones that had a scale there.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, while we're betting it, it's basically a Joe Burrow health bet. Evan Abrams' data pointed out 2nd easiest opponent win total of Burrow's career, fewest projected playoff opponents in football, the softest opposing quarterback schedule in the NFL. So, if Burrow stays upright, this team can absolutely win 11-plus games. I mean, you have
it sounds like
2 long-term coaches in the division are gone, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And it sounds like the defense just has to kind of do enough. It doesn't seem like they're going to be counting on them based on what you told me about the level of teams that they're kind of playing against, the level of quarterbacks that they're going to be seeing all season. If that defense just kind of shows up and does enough, I mean, I see this hitting, relatively early, potentially.
And we've already talked about it. What scares me?
Yeah,
getting hurt again.
The health concerns,
that's the whole conversation. Basically, it can't happen every year, right?
You wouldn't think. You really wouldn't think, right?
You wouldn't think. Look at that.
Trying to pull up their schedule to see how quickly I think they might get that while you're getting something else ready.
We're staying in the division for the next one.
Oh, nice. Okay, what you got?
Baltimore Ravens. Speaking of one of those teams with the turnover, yes, there's no Harbaugh, but there's Lamar Jackson. There's a new coach. There's a lot of the same pieces. There's continuity. Baltimore Ravens over 11.5 wins at plus 115 is 2-unit bet. The Ravens to just freaking clean up this year in the regular season seems to be all laid out for us. Now, league quarterback, manageable schedule, weak opposing quarterback slate, just like the Bengals. It's just the whole division got a good draw. Rest advantages and a strong draft. So the model actually projects them at 10.8 wins and gives Baltimore 74% playoff odds. Well, the model is like, it's numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you have to pick if you're going to go 10 or 11. You have to pick if you think you're going to make that extra.
I see.
Yeah, because
more often than not, I pick 11.
Projects. Yeah, the model, like the numbers, not the real teams. But
over 12.5 is a lot of wins. 13 wins is tough.
That is tough. So we're basically, that's why this is only 1 unit. We're not going too crazy, but if you notice, the Bengals ladder is only half a unit.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
So
then you have more confidence.
We believe a lot more in the Ravens.
A lot more. Okay. I don't like that.
Well,
sorry.
Baltimore gets 5 rest advantage games, one of the easiest schedules among contenders, and a realistic path to the AFC's top seed, which you need for a team to need to win 13 games.
Yeah. No, for sure.
If you're not close to getting the 1 seed and you're cruising to take your division, a sleepy, November game could easily ruin a win total bet. But if the team is going for the jugular, give me a piece. Now, no Harbaugh, that's what scares me. New systems, new voices, new structure. So that's volatility, but, the historical trend I've been alluding to this whole time, teams with win totals of 11 plus are just 4 and 12 to the over since the NFL moved to 17 games.
Yeah. Okay. So the history is not really on your side here.
No, but I didn't let that scare me away. It's always a new season. They're always doing something new. There's always new rule changes and things like that. So too many historical trends don't really fit my vibe if it's the wrong thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
How about your favorite team? You love them? You love them? It's the New York Jets.
Ooh, yikes. Okay.
Yeah, you don't like them. It's an under bet, though. How about that?
Hey, okay.
Betting on them to go under 5.5 wins.
That I could get on board with. That sounds fun.
You double your money if they win less than 6 games.
That sounds really fun.
So their projected wins are 5.4. So at even money, the under still grades slightly better than the over.
Yeah. Okay.
What scares me, Geno Smith, I guess. They actually had a pretty competent draft in offseason, like David Bailey at number 2, 2 first-round receivers. So, I mean, could this be the year they get it together? I hope not. But it could be, and that's what scares you, right?
Even if those picks are hits, I doubt that's this early that they see the success.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the Tennessee Titans.
Let's do it.
Because that's another under bet.
Oh, nice.
We're not backing the Titans. I mean, it feels like it's one of these teams people talk themselves into every offseason because the schedule looks soft. And to be fair, the schedule is softer. But the projections still land around this number, and I'm not fully buying the roster ceiling yet. This isn't really a Titans or awful bet. It's more, I don't think they should be priced like a middle-of-the-pack team yet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either.
Second year Cam Ward is the concern. Does he figure it out, put it all together? He's the number 1 overall pick from a year ago.
Skills are there, but we just didn't really see many flashes last season at all.
55 sacks last year.
He took 55 sacks?
Yeah, and he still set a Titans rookie passing record. So,
yeah. We'll see what else they can pull together. It's the team around him that is concerning if you're a Titans fan.
If Brian Daboll was actually worth this salt and just got a bad shake in New York, we're screwed here. That's pretty much what it is, because Daboll is there to try to make Ward a better quarterback in year 2.
Yeah.
And so if he actually can do that, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he wasn't good at that. But that's all the bets. Again, let's go over them from the top. Chicago Bears, 2 units over 9.5 wins plus 115. Jacksonville Jaguars over 9.5, 1.5 units on that. It's at plus 120. The Bengals over 9.5 wins at minus 146. 1 unit. Bengals over 10.5 wins plus 120. Ooh, half a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens over 11.5 wins. 2 unit bet, another big one, plus 115. And we're on the ladder there as well, over 12.5 wins, 1 unit on the Ravens to get to 13 wins this year. We'll take 2-1 on that, plus 215. Give me that money. New York Jets to still not get past 6 wins, plus 100. That's a 1 unit bet. And the Tennessee Titans to not get to 7 wins at just a regular bet, minus 110, and 2 units.
I like that one too. These are good.
Yeah, you like these?
I don't know. I'm not going to do the Ravens, but other than that, I like all of these.
Nice. Okay, so we hadn't gotten a chance to talk about these before the podcast. We wanted this to be fresh for you guys, so I'm glad that Sean likes them. Yeah, I feel like you would just say, I don't like these.
No. I mean, I like rooting for the Bengals because, like you said, the Joe Burrow on my fantasy team and stuff. And I like what you're saying about the Bears and the Jags. Don't really have any fantasy players or anything like that. But I just think they're teams that are poised to take us to the next step. So, and then, Jets and Titans, I expect to still be pretty bad. So, yeah, I like what you put together.
For sure. Well, I guess it's time to F around a little bit, huh?
Yeah, we could F around.
Do.
All right. So just got done here in Canada. Kimi Antonelli has now won 4 Formula One races in a row at 19 years old. George Russell's car died while he was leading the Grand Prix, and the championship gap is now 43 points. Lewis Hamilton got his best result ever with Ferrari. Max Verstappen finally got a podium. Alex Albon hit a groundhog. Gucci is officially going racing, and Mercedes pulled out of the Alpine ownership talks. We got Monaco next week. Here we go. Let's get into it.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Price.
I'm Sean Dizer. Got the full F1 show here, the Canadian Grand Prix review, the Monaco preview, and a lot happened off the track too, Ian. What do we got?
Well, before you hit it, the betting card will be dropping after qualifying next weekend. WaitandGridPod.com, all in with the Substack. But we should probably go over how we did in the last race, which was, we talked a lot about safety cars, and I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the race. The race was a lot of fun. I woke up in the morning and texted you, hey, I'm going to trail some stuff today, and we'll talk about how that went.
Man, every time Sean tries to tail some of the F1 bets, it takes him off. I want to kick him off the Substack so he doesn't see it anymore.
Seriously.
But gambling problem, get help. 1-800-GAMBLER, ncpgambling.org. Bet in unit sizes, set aside money, be responsible. This isn't supposed to become a burden on your life. I had someone confront me at a bar recently, honestly, about gambling, saying it was a scourge on society and all this, and it should be illegal again. And I was trying to explain to him how when it's illegal, you can owe 10 grand to a guy at a pizzeria. And now that it's legal, at least in the Commonwealth of Virginia, you cannot bet with a credit card. You cannot, you have to have money to bet it.
Yeah.
He didn't get that at all. That's fine. Eventually I talked him under the table until he walked away from me.
Not you.
No, not me. He told me he was like, I was like, have you used this app? And he's like, well, I haven't used any of the apps. And then he starts telling me that they take credit cards. I'm like,
no, they don't.
Don't talk out of both sides of right now. Like, are you kidding me? I have all the apps. They don't take credit cards. You've never used them. You can't tell me what they do.
They don't in North Carolina either, for what it's worth. I'd imagine, and kind of hope they don't really anywhere, but that's beside the point.
So everything we're about to discuss for entertainment purposes only. Sports betting involves financial risk. Only bet what you can afford to lose. 1-800-522-4700 for the National Council on Problem Gambling. All plays are unit-based. So
right.
Down 2 3/4 units after Canada. If we had accidentally fallen asleep and not bet, we would have done better.
Yep.
Any idea why?
George Russell.
Russell. The entire card was built around him. Yes. He was the anchor at plus 110. Pole sitter, winner of the last 2 Canadian Grand Prix. Set the car up specifically for rain. Won the sprint on Saturday. That was his a high confidence play.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah, very high. Like there was nothing about that didn't make sense.
And on lap 31, his battery suffered a catastrophic failure that killed the engine and ended his race.
Like what?
When his car died, 3 bets died with it. The win bet,
my heart
1.5 units gone. The boost dart, Russell win plus Antonelli second plus Norris third at plus 1,200. We knew that was a long shot. That's why it's called a dart.
And Norris had tanked that for us earlier anyway, for the most part. Like he wasn't climbing back up that far.
Very fair.
Yeah.
He deserves his own blame.
Yeah.
Because Russell was gone. And the same game parlay, Norris podium plus loss in points. Lost because Norris had already been caught up in McLaren's disaster of day. Dropped out of the points, and his leg didn't cash, per what Sean just said to me.
McLaren ended up looking pretty dumb last weekend.
It did not go well.
The Lawson leg did hit, though, right?
It did.
Yeah, there we go.
Lawson finished 7th. Exactly the kind of result I described. He charged through the field, stayed out of trouble, and the Montreal Chaos did what Montreal Chaos does.
Yep.
But, you need both legs. So that doesn't buy me a Coke.
Nope. We had one bet actually cash cleanly, though, didn't we?
Franco Colapinto, points at minus 135. He started 10th, already inside the points at the track with the highest safety car probability on the calendar, and he finished 6th. Career best for him. That was a process bet because with all the safety cars, I made 2 single bets on the day where I usually do nothing but parlays. We had George Russell to win, and then Colapinto alone. Just something told me I couldn't find a leg to pair with him, and it was like, just bet it individually.
Yeah,
I'm glad I took that advice from myself.
That's the one bet of yours that I didn't tail.
And that's the one you were like, you know what? I'm actually going to do this. Then I found another leg to do this, and then yours it was Norris, and I think he screwed you again.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a Mercedes McLaren good day bet, and McLaren did
between George Russell and McLaren and Norris, and just what'd y'all do to us?
Yeah. So what was you said the net damage was down 2 3/4?
Yeah, we didn't lose our full 3 or 4 units because we won one bet, but
yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. Like, we can't predict engine failure or batteries dying, things like that, right? I mean, I guess it is something to consider, but you can't not place a bet because you're like, well, what if the engine dies?
Yeah, like, well, what if George Russell's engine randomly breaks on the 31st lap? Like, how would we know that?
So it's like a really fun race, though, right? I mean, outside of anything else on the betting?
Yeah, outside of that.
Yeah,
Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. First sprint weekend in Canadian Grand Prix history. One of the most entertaining Formula One race weekends of the season so far. And it produced a result that put real distance in the championship. Sean, give me the headline.
Yeah, so Kimi Antonelli, 4th consecutive Grand Prix win. 4 races, 4 wins, 19 years old, only driver in Formula One history to win his first 4 consecutive race victories there.
And he did it the hard way because Russell had control of the weekend going in. George Russell took sprint pole, won the sprint race, and led the Grand Prix from the start. The early laps were among the most entertaining inter-team battles we've seen in years.
Oh, yeah.
The two swapping the lead, going wheel to wheel at the final chicane. Toto Wolff on the radio warning both of them not to leave 2 Mercedes by the side of the road. And then on lap 31, Russell's car stopped. So he didn't
dreaded battery failure.
Catastrophic power loss.
Yep.
I would see that banned and they had a $10 cover.
Okay. Yeah.
Catastrophic power loss. Would you see them?
I think so. Maybe not a $10 cover, but if they were just playing and they would let me in, I'd go check out a couple songs. Maybe stay for a drink.
George Russell trundled over the grass, parked the car, threw his headrest out, later apologized for that, and walked away furious. I mean, Mercedes technical director James Allison confirmed battery failure caused an engine kill. So the championship gap, which had been a manageable fight, stretched to 43 points in one moment. Russell said after the race that the title was now Antonelli's to lose. That's a remarkable statement from a teammate who has a sophomore secondary driver beating him.
Right. And one of the few times over the weekend, Antonelli was more diplomatic about a situation, right?
Yeah, he said, I'm not thinking about the championship. I'm just focusing on race by race. I can't relax. I need to keep leveling up because competitors are getting closer, and George is super quick. He's 43 points ahead after 5 races. So that kind of composure at 19 is sort of the story of the season so far.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy just to hear everything. I mean, even going back from the sprint, looking at the sprint rather on Saturday, that kind of deserves its own moment because that really set up everything that followed on Sunday for the Grand Prix.
Russell converted sprint pole into sprint victory, but it was contentious from the first lap. Antonelli attacked him relentlessly, went off turn 1 twice, had contact with Russell at turns 8 and 9. The stewards took no action. Antonelli was furious on the radio. Norris ended up second after Antonelli's turn 1 incident opened the door. Sprint result, Russell first, Norris second, Antonelli third. And then...
Antonelli wins the whole thing on Sunday, which tells you something about how he processes adversity, right? Because he was visibly angry on Saturday and then channeled it on Sunday. Didn't overcook it in the race the way he had in the sprint. Because he did in the sprint. You could just tell the radio comms. But during the Grand Prix, he was precise, patient, and when Russell's car stopped, he was just in the right place.
Well, I don't think George Russell had the worst situation.
Yeah, there was a groundhog that may have had a worse day. We got to talk about that.
Alex Albon collided with a groundhog that sent him into the wall during practice, which forced him to miss sprint qualifying entirely. A groundhog in practice.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he then had a decent Grand Prix though, despite virtually no track time going into it, only to be torpedoed out of the race by Oscar Piastri at the hairpin. So Albon simply could not catch a break in Montreal.
Yeah, but the groundhogs, Piastri bullying him off the track, so to speak. It was just he couldn't catch a break, like you said. Not a good day if you're Alex Albon.
No. McLaren's weekend deserves its own paragraph of shame, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Both drivers started on intermediate tires when the track was drying. The McLaren drivers were on the radio on the formation lap telling the team they believe the call was wrong. The call was wrong. Piastri caused a collision that also damaged his own front wing and required a pit stop. Norris got grass stuck in his car from going wide and had to pit again. Both finished outside the points. Coming into Montreal as potential championship challengers, McLaren left with nothing. You get nothing. You lose, sir. Good night.
Yeah, that was a weekend to forget if you're McLaren or a McLaren fan. Nothing really exciting race-wise happened. I mean, Norris for the sprint, second place was nice, but otherwise, let's just leave Canada behind and move on to Monaco.
Sean, tell me about the P2 battle that was its own kind of story.
Yeah, that was fun too. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen going wheel to wheel for second place there. Some flashbacks to that 2021 race, but this time as a masterclass of racecraft more than a grudge match, right? So Hamilton made that beautiful move around the outside of turn 1 to hold Verstappen off and claim second. And that was the best ever Grand Prix result with Ferrari. Verstappen's first podium of the 26th season and third.
Hamilton said afterwards that was the happiest day of his time at Ferrari. So
right.
His words, I can't even begin to explain how deep I've had to dig to be able to get to this point. The work and moving mountains in the background to enable this sort of performance. Fred's been super supportive, and I'm finally starting to show in my performance. He also specifically credited his new for 2026 race engineer, Carlos Santi, and said he stopped using Ferrari simulator in preparation for this race. He chose to work through the data differently. The change in approach showed. 7-time world champion saying this is the happiest day of his time at the team is a pretty real statement.
Yeah, and for Verstappen, first podium of 2026 after 5 races. That's how far Red Bull's fallen and how far they've come back.
Exactly. I mean, he was fighting Hamilton on merit, not just surviving. Red Bull's upgrade in Montreal contributed to that. Progress is real, but winning is still a different conversation. The car is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I'm curious to see how they continue evolving, as we continue through the circuit here.
Let's put the numbers on the board, right? I mean,
yeah,
driver championship after 5 races. We've mentioned that Antonelli leads Russell by 43 points. You got the rest?
Yeah, so he, like you said, up 43 points. He has 131 to Russell's 88. And then we've got Leclerc and Hamilton next for Ferrari. McLaren sit 5th and 6th. Verstappen is in 7th after finally getting his first podium of the season. And then moving on to the constructors. I know Mercedes is in the lead. Where do we come up after that?
219 points for Mercedes. Ferrari
right.
second with 147. That's a 72-point gap. McLaren third with 106. Red Bull fourth with 57. Alpine fifth with 35. McLaren has dropped back from where they were after Miami. So the 3-team fight for second in the constructors is getting pretty real.
Yeah.
Except there's clearly a unicorn on this horse, and it's Mercedes out in front.
Yeah, they can't lose. They've literally won every Grand Prix this season.
Yeah. It's all five.
Yeah.
The only non-Mercedes pole position was Norris in the Miami sprint. Every race, Mercedes, Antonelli, Russell, Antonelli. The constructors lead is 72 points over Ferrari after 5 races. I mean, dominant much?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Let's talk about something luxurious.
Okay.
Big week off the track. Alpine confirmed Gucci is officially the title sponsor from the 2027 season on. So that'll be next year. The team will be known as Gucci Racing Alpine Formula One Team. The cars will move from BWT's blue and pink livery to Gucci's signature black, gold, red, and green.
It looks really cool if you've seen the mock-ups, or I don't even know if they're mock-ups at this point, but yeah, first luxury fashion house to be the title sponsor of an F1 team, and I don't know if it's going to be the last.
Correct. I mean, the connection that makes it less surprising, Luca de Meuron Renault pushed Alpine back into Formula One as a brand exercise, then moved to carrying Gucci's parent company. Flavio Briatore called it something he was incredibly proud of. The analyst read, LVMH became a global F1 partner in 2025. Tommy Hilfiger is with Cadillac. Hugo Boss is with Aston Martin. Gucci is probably the first of several luxury fashion houses to take title sponsorship. So the sports reach in the U.S. market and its demographics have made it genuinely attractive for luxury brands in a way that wasn't true 10 years ago. I mean, Gucci didn't want in on any type of racing at all 10 years ago. Now, just Formula One is the only one I see them touching.
Yeah, and I think as this sport continues to grow and become more and more popular in terms of like global popularity, I think these luxury brands are going to start seeing their opportunities to really, make more and more of these types of partnerships. And I think it's going to be good for everybody, honestly. Because, I mean, the car that I've seen online, like, I don't know if it's real yet or a mock-up or whatever, but it looks really good.
Black, gold, red, and green. The iconic Gucci color scheme on a Formula One car at 200 miles an hour. When that car gets to Monaco next season, it'll be watching with genuine interest.
Absolutely.
Same week, though. Mercedes walked away from talks.
Yeah, that's right. We had multiple reports saying Mercedes withdrew from discussions to purchase the 24% stake in Alpine that Otro Capital is selling. The reason? Price. Otro was reportedly asking $720 million, implying a total Alpine valuation of around $3 billion, and Mercedes felt that was overpriced.
Christian Horner is still believed to be among the interested parties. The other 76% of Alpine is owned by Renault.
But that Mercedes interest had already stirred up the paddock.
Zach Brown at McLaren wrote a formal letter to FIA president detailing his sporting, technical, financial, and governance objections to multi-team ownership. At the Canadian Grand Prix press conference, McLaren team principal Adria Stella said, "This is a championship between independent contractors. We believe very strongly that this principle should be enforced totally." Red Bull's Laurent Mecque responded that Red Bull and Racing Bulls operate as a customer-supplier relationship under the technical regulations, with Racing Bulls taking allowed parts, including suspension, gearbox, and engine, and that Red Bull is completely supportive to take any further step to ensure that we race independently on track. So, I mean, the debate isn't resolved by Mercedes withdrawing from the Alpine conversation. It's a fundamental question about what Formula One is. 11 independent constructors competing against each other, or a more interconnected network of teams? And that question doesn't really go away just because the team winning didn't get a secondary team, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think it's a conflict for Racing Bulls? And I mean, it's kind of weird that when Christian Horner gets fired,
Right.
the new team principal comes right from Racing Bulls. If they're really independent, would you let them take your team principal?
It does seem like they're a bit too closely related there. And I've kind of always thought
Isaac Hajar has a really good year, so you let him go to the second Red Bull seat, and you don't keep him in the Racing Bulls car he was making a name for himself in.
It almost seems like there's like a minor league team here. Not that the Racing Bulls are performing like minor leagues, but you get the point.
I agree with Zach Brown, which isn't something I enjoy saying, really. He's got a point. He's like, I'm doing all I can in orange, and they're wearing two different uniforms.
Yep. That's one other story from the week worth including. Ollie Behrman, talking about what it means to watch Antonelli from the midfield.
Behrman, who was Antonelli's teammate at Prima Racing in F2 back in 2024, before Antonelli went to Mercedes and Behrman went to Haas, said watching Kimi Antonelli fight George Russell for victories is giving him belief and motivation. His exact words: "Those two are operating at an incredible level. I was fighting with them in F2 and F3, and now they're fighting with the top guys. So it's another proof to me that one day I can do it as well."
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really cool to see this younger generation of drivers just kind of really growing up and winning races and making statements, really week in and week out. It's going to be cool to just continue to watch Kimi and make history this year, it looks like. And I'm sure from his ex-teammate, that's got to be fun to watch too.
While the NFL clings to the idea that without Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be done. Ben Roethlisberger's gone. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's nice to be following a sport that the best driver in the world is only 19.
Yep. Pretty cool.
But I mean, Behrman is 9th in the championship. Best result, 5th in China. He's in a Haas, not a top 4 car, and he's clean, he's consistent, he's watching his peers win championships and taking notes. So, I mean, the driver market in 2 or 3 years when top seats open up is going to be worth watching. Like you said, this generation, Antonelli, Behrman, Hajar, they're not waiting around.
No, and they shouldn't. And it's really fun to see.
Monaco, June 5th through the 7th. What are you watching for, Sean?
Yeah, so we've got the crown jewel, Circuit de Monaco, the most historic race in the sport. Also the hardest place on the calendar to overtake. So Monaco really rewards qualifying position more than anywhere else in Formula One. Yeah, if you start at the front, you almost certainly finish at the front, which means Antonelli's 43-point lead going in matters even more.
I mean, even more, yeah. Because if Mercedes locks out the front row, which they've done in qualifying at hold on, let me look at my notes. Every non-sprint session this season, the race is almost predetermined.
Right.
Russell wins. Antonelli second. Gap closes to maybe 38 points, or maybe somebody's car breaks again. I mean, Antonelli wins. Russell second. Gap goes to 50. Monaco is not a place where surprising results happen often.
Right. I mean, we do have some variables to consider. Ferrari at Monaco historically is strong. Leclerc grew up in Monaco and has been heartbreakingly close to winning his home race multiple times. Hamilton's car in Montreal was the best it's felt all year. If Ferrari can find something in qualifying, they can put both cars at the front and give the race a different shape.
Red Bull at Monaco, Verstappen has won there before, 2021, 2023. But this year's car has not looked like an automatic Monaco favorite. So if the upgrade progress that showed in Montreal carries over, he's back in the conversation for pole. But the 2026 cars are smaller and lighter than recent generations. The narrower streets of Monaco should theoretically have more usable racing room than recent seasons. Nobody knows exactly what that means until they're actually on the track. Monaco's tight. It's
very tight. Yeah. So
Tweet like
is
a
there
tweet.
a way too early betting angle to look at here?
No, not yet. I don't like to do anything early, but a full Monaco card will be dropping after qualifying at witandgritpod.com. We wait for qualifying, and that's the model all season. I mean, I don't want to give you guys bets because if somebody could hit a groundhog in a free practice, and then all of a sudden they're not in the sprint. And it's like, what if we had put a Behrman bet out,
Yep.
Or an Alex Albon bet. Sorry, mixed up my young white drivers. But I'm excited about Monaco. I don't know
Me
about
too.
you.
I can't wait. Yeah, waking up for that race is going to be a little challenging. Might have to do a little like at home type of brunch style thing because it's 9 a.m. here on the East Coast.
Yeah, 9 a.m. is back to Europe with these races. The 4 p.m. times were great. But they're gone
so
now.
nice. So nice.
Just like halfway through your Sunday, like, oh, yeah, there's a race coming up.
Check out the race. Yeah.
Now you got to wake up and immediately
I
go, room.
I kind of wish there was a sprint, not going to lie. I'm starting to really enjoy the sprints a lot. And just the extra F1 content on a Saturday.
And just having something you can watch. It's really quick. See them get it done, and then just boom. And I'm enjoying the fact that the sprints are giving us a little bit of variance because if you watched only the Grand Prix, you'd be really bored with watching Antonelli win every race. You at least got to see Norris win one thing if you watch the sprints.
Yep, and you can see that it's there. While there is definitely Mercedes dominance for sure, there are teams, Ferrari, McLaren, that they're going to push them. They're probably going to win the constructors, Mercedes, but I don't think these other guys are going to make it, a cakewalk necessarily. We'll see.
4 wins in a row for a 19-year-old. Lewis Hamilton, happiest he's been at Ferrari. Max Verstappen finally on the podium. Albon hit a groundhog. Gucci is going racing. Monaco in 1 week. And we'll have the full card for you at witandgritpod.com. Thanks for being here. Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah, and real quick, just to remind you guys.
Yo, this podcast is so fire. Even my dog watches it.
We are dog friendly. Let your dog watch our podcast. Just leave it on. When you go to work, just leave us on. Why not? Yeah. Your dog likes us. We have proof. So
go to our YouTube channel. Just play the videos.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend.
Peace out.